Alright lads, so in this video I'm going to show you the difference between someone that is completely 100% natural to someone that jumps on steroids for competition purposes, to compete. So this was me a couple of years ago. I've had Crohn's disease for about 10 years. And this was me when I was really bad. I got sick, I lost a bunch of pounds. Anyway, I've always loved to train, so even when I was sick I was still training. However, I started to get better. I started to take a few natural supplements like glutamine, things like that for the stomach, and I started to put weight on. So as you can see, I haven't got bad genetics, everything's sort of there. This was me, still natural completely. This was when I was just, I think I was taking a weight gainer. I was eating probably 2,000 to 2,500 calories, guys. So I was probably getting about 4,000 calories in. Training nearly 5 to 6 days a week, heavy compound movements. I was doing, bench press, squats, as you can see. And I've got reasonable genetics. They're not great genetics. They're not poor genetics. I'd just say maybe just a tad above average. So anyway, I started to train, and I decided that I wanted a diet. So I took the keto approach, and I think this took me about 12 weeks of non-stop dieting, cardio. I was balls to the wall, all out. And guys, for me, this was probably my favorite look. This was, again, completely natural, but as you can see, I was fairly stringy. What I loved about this look, you could see like the crevices in the abs, you could see all the details. Even though once you diet naturally, you are going to lose muscle. You just are. It doesn't matter how much protein you have. I was having like 200 grams of protein here, and I was still losing muscle. Everything's there, the details, but I was just stringy. This is what happens when you go natural. Could I have kept more fullness if I wouldn't have went keto? Probably, yeah. But I went full on keto. I was just eating fats and protein, and I got extremely shredded. Anyway, I decided I wanted to go in a proper bulk, and this was me on steroids. I think I was on a minimal amount, a 200 milligram of testosterone, and I would inject that every 4 to 5 days. I got up to about 16 stone, which is about 225 pounds. And as you can see here, I was fat. I was fat. If you would have seen me, I had an arse like the Nutty Professor. It wasn't aesthetic. It wasn't pleasing. But I decided I wanted to do a bodybuilding show, and I wanted to cut down, and this was the result. So this was 200 milligrams of testosterone. This was a little bit of Mastron and a little bit of Anavar as well. And don't get me wrong, lads, steroids are anabolic, they are powerful. But that doesn't mean that you just jump on them and you just build muscle. As you can see here, look, you can see the striations in the chest, you can see the fullness, the hardness. Steroids work, but as I was saying, you still have to put the graft in, you still have to put a shift in. Okay, because even before I was on steroids, I still trained my arse off. But as you can see here, you look at the shoulders, look at the chest, you just retain fullness. Like even if your protein goes from say 200 to 150 grams, you're still going to maintain the fullness on the muscle. This is just the power of steroids. As I said, this doesn't give you license to just take them and expect you to look like Hercules, because it's not going to happen. As you can see here on the back, the transformation it's serious. My goal when I competed was to go pro. Unfortunately, my stomach and the Crohn's disease, I just couldn't continue because I was in complete pain. This is one of my looks. It wasn't my favorite look, but I did 3 shows and I won 3 shows. This was the amateurs in the IFBB league. I do believe I probably would have went pro. Would I have made a good pro and won shows? If I'm honest with myself, probably not. No, people are just too good. This is me on TRT now. Because I've been on steroids for probably 3 years, my natural production has shut down. And let me tell you now, you cannot flirt with steroids and not expect there to be consequences. Even though I was only on minimal dosages, I was on for quite a long time going on these bulks. Do I regret it? Lads, it is what it is. You reap what you sow, and I will probably be on 1 shot a week of 140 milligram for the rest of my life. Do I feel good? Yeah. Do I still struggle with my stomach? Yes. Again, but I am in a place now where I am happy with my physique. I'm not going to lie. I haven't got the best genetics, but I work with what I have. If you're thinking about taking steroids, if you're thinking about TRT, you have to think about the consequences, the side effects, because there is no smoke without fire. And if you start to play with your hormones, lads, for vanity purposes, or even getting on stage, because this life is a stage. You want people to look at you and say, wow, doesn't he look good? But at the end of the day, your health is your wealth. And if it was me and I had my choice again, I wouldn't go on them. That's just a fact. But I do love to train. I love the adrenaline. I love fast cars. I love to lift heavy. So lads, weigh up your options. Let me know what you think. What was your favourite look? The natural look, the TRT look, or the enhanced look? Let me know your thoughts. If you haven't already, leave a like, comment and subscribe, and I will see you soon. Just to let you know, we are 5 weeks away from one of the greatest Olympians of all time. Take care, my friends. Stay safe.